Welcome back to Darnley Cyber Café, the place where we dive into the intersection of cybersecurity technology and the digital future. I'm your host, Darnley, and today we're stepping into a world that might seem like science fiction, but is rapidly becoming science fact. I'm talking about CRISPR, gene editing, and what it means for the future of security, privacy, and the survival of humankind. We have to give Hollywood more ammunition to create some additional disaster movies, right? First, what exactly is CRISPR? No, I don't mean the chips. CRISPR stands for Clustered Regularly Interspace Short Palindromic Repeats. It refers to a natural defense mechanism found in bacteria, where scientists have adapted into a powerful gene editing tool. Recent advancements in CRISPR technology, particularly the latest developments from Yale, have unlocked new ways to edit multiple genes simultaneously. This means scientists can now manipulate complex genetic interactions, something that could revolutionize treatments for cancer, metabolic disorders, and even autoimmune diseases. This tool is called specifically CRISPR-Cas12a. Now, however, for the sake of removing the additional letters and numbers here, I'm just going to call it CRISPR. But as with all this groundbreaking technology, there is a cybersecurity angle we need to explore, of course. So gene editing and biohacking, a new cybersecurity threat? Now, we've all heard of cybercriminals targeting data, your emails, bank accounts, passwords, and even national security systems. All old news, right? But what happens when hackers move beyond the digital information and start targeting biological data? What if these gene editing tools like CRISPR fall into the wrong hands? Now, just imagine a future where cybercriminals or even state-sponsor actors could alter DNA sequences with the same precision they use to hack software. This could mean targeted bioweapons, genetic surveillance, or even unauthorized engineer human enhancements or augments. Suddenly, cybercrime isn't just about stolen passwords and those credit cards. It's about stolen identities at the genetic level. Now, this reminds me of a video game I used to play called Perfect Dark for the Nintendo 64. Yes, sure, age myself. The president was cloned. So this particular story I remember here was the president of the United States was cloned by a disgruntled NSA director named Trent Easton to replace the real president to allow the government's deep sea exploration vessel to hand that over to this evil corporation called Datadyne. Now, this video game conspiracy could actually turn into reality in our non-distant future. Excuse the tangent. So the ethics of gene editing and the digital privacy. The biggest cybersecurity concerns around CRISPR aren't just hypothetical. Governments and corporations already store vast amounts of your genetic data. Some services like 23andMe and Ancestry DNA collect DNA samples that could, in theory, be exploited. If this data is breached, it could be used for identity fraud on a biological scale. Oh, wait, they were. 23andMe was breached in October of 2023. So let's picture an insurance company denying your coverage because they've accessed unauthorized genetic data predicting high-risk illness, or a government using genetic markers for surveillance and control of their people. As we move towards where gene editing becomes more mainstream, we must also implement rigorous security and ethical measures. Just as we secure our emails and financial accounts, we need to have these digital safeguards for our DNA. Safeguards such as, for example, blockchain-based encryption for these genetic records, biometric security measures, and strict data governance will be crucial in preventing the misuse of this powerful technology. We all know, let's be honest and frank here, we all know how on top the government is on these sorts of things. So I always continue to be pessimistic. The cybernetic future, human evolution or human control. With technologies like CRISPR Cas12a, we are stepping even closer to a future where humans could theoretically edit their own evolution. You want to boost your immune system? Done. Eliminate genetic diseases? No problem. Enhance cognitive function? Absolutely. The possibilities are beyond endless, but so are the risks. Think about it. Who controls access to this technology? Will gene editing be a tool for progress for a species or an instrument of human control? Will this be in a higher demand soon as we have to compete against the soon-to-be ultra-smart AI? If history has taught us anything, is that technology advances far faster than government regulation. Big surprise there. Cybersecurity experts, ethicists, and governments must work together to ensure that gene editing doesn't become the next Wild West of hacking and exploitation. If we don't, we may wake up one day in a world where our very DNA is no longer our own. CRISPR and cybersecurity may seem like two separate worlds, but they are rapidly converging. The same principles we use to protect digital systems must now be applied to the genetic ones. As we move into this new era of biological computing, one thing is clear. The future of humanity isn't just about protecting our data, it's about protecting our very human identity. Well, that's all for today's episode of Darnley Cyber Café. If you enjoyed this discussion, please don't forget to subscribe, leave a review, and share with a friend. Stay safe, stay secure, and remember, knowledge is power.